Alright, so May is upon us and I need to start getting some stuff ready for the mowing season. So I got the Frontier rotary cutter back from my dad. I had it stored in his pole building, and I noticed again the gearbox is all full of water because it's kind of that milky color. And just looking through, I see that there's a spot here that's kind of bent up. So we're going to do a good thorough once over on this and we'll go from there. Alright, so I realized I needed to get some grease. My grease gun was empty. So I ended up buying this Valvoline, which is NLGI number 2, which I believe is good for this climate. And then also it has the GCLB, which is the automotive wheel bearing and chassis lubricant, which I believe not all greases are, most of them are. And I checked the owner's manual for the 3025E, and it has a recommended grease, which I think they had 3 listed, and then there's the preferred, and I believe the preferred is what you should use. Recommended is still okay. I decided to do a little more research and typed it into the internet, grease to use on John Deere compact tractor, and the internet started to melt down. There was a lot of guys saying that the preferred grease is not the correct grease to use and John Deere's way off, and that the recommended grease also is no good either. This is what we're going to use. It meets both the specifications John Deere had for the NLGI and then also the chassis, the GCLB as well. So that's what I'm going to use on everything. I'm using it on the rotary cutter, the lawnmower deck for the X758, the 758, all the moving parts on that, and then also the 3025E. I'm going to use one tube. We're going to use it in everything, and things are going to be just okay. Alright, so let's get this gearbox cleared out. I got one of these suction guns. I guess this is the way to do it, is with a suction gun. I didn't have an actual suction gun last time. I bought I believe it was like a transfer pump type deal. Well, it seems like it's pulling it out pretty well. And it's still pretty milky for whatever reason. Alright. Yeah, it's really milky. That's sad. I don't know what the story on that is. Alright, so I got everything sucked out, and there's still a little bit of oil at the very bottom. I just can't get that out. So hopefully I got the camera set up that you can see when it gets to the sight glass here. And I'm just using this as 80W90 Valvoline, and number 1 gear oil brand, it says, probably because of the cost. I think this is the most inexpensive quote-unquote name brand they have in the store. So we might have to do this a couple times and just keep an eye on it. I did this last year when I realized it was full of water. I'm also going to put a tarp or a cover on this when I have it out at the woods. I don't have a structure to park it in. I don't have enough space in the shipping container to put this and the tractor, so I'm going to put a cover over this gearbox, or maybe even the whole thing, just to hopefully prevent water from getting in there. The other thing too I should mention, I have this on the trailer. I actually had to lower the trailer in the front to get this somewhat level. Otherwise all the oil would be towards the back of the gearbox. So we got to be getting close here. Yeah, it looks like we're getting there. The sight glass is a little bit lower than the actual plug on the side here. I believe this would be the fill plug. The top is just the breather or the vent. It's easier to pour it in through the top. Once it comes out or is to the bottom of those threads, we should be good. Alright, so we're going to take a look at that slip clutch that's in there, friction clutch. To get this cover off here, you're going to pull the end of the drive shaft off. That's the easy part. And then there's a screw here that kind of keeps this collar from moving. you have to remove that Phillips screw, and then what you're gonna do is, you see how there's this white tab here? There's 3 of those on there that kind of keeps this in place. You need to line that up with this. So you're gonna just turn it, and it kind of goes hard. And you see now it popped. Now we should hopefully be able to pull this off, which it looks like it's going to, there it is, going to come off. Okay, so this video might jump around a little bit. I changed gears here as I was getting into this. So we got the slip clutch here, and it has those friction discs in there. So because mine looks kind of rusty and I just want to make sure it's working, I took and marked each one of the bolts here that kind of clamp this thing together, and I backed it off 1 full revolution on each one of them. So you'll see the space here is quite a bit, and it's only supposed to be 4 millimeters, and that's really wide. So the way it's supposed to work here to kind of like burn these in, or to clean them up a little bit, is you attach it back to the tractor, run your PTO a little bit on and off to try to get these to slip. And I don't know if they're gonna slip in there. I'm not 100% sure. I'm kind of feeling like the disc on this side and the one on that side should hopefully move, or maybe this center the center hub in there. So I got a couple different reference marks on here just to see what ends up moving, if anything. And then this is kind of like a shear bolt too, because if this shears off, well, obviously it's going to stop working. But I did have this all off. I don't know if I'm going to include that in the video or not. There is a snap ring that's missing on the shaft. I don't know if it was just forgotten when they assembled it, or if it fell off, so we'll have to address that. Obviously I got the cover off. Again, I don't know if I'm going to share any of that or not. I'm not sure if I'm going to put that back on. I kind of want to leave it off because it's just easier to get to this, but honestly it's not too much to take it off. You got 1 bolt here without snap ring, and this whole clutch assembly comes off, and then you put your cover back on and then put your bolt through. The grease fitting that's on this universal joint here is impossible to get to without pulling the cover off. You got to pull off that shield or cover that they have on it. So I'll probably put the cover back on. Once we get out to the woods, like I said, we'll run it a little bit, make sure everything is slipping like it should, and then we're just going to retighten these back up to 1 revolution tight again. Just like I took the 1 revolution loose, we'll go 1 revolution back to where it was. I don't have a feeler gauge or something in there to check that it's 4 millimeters. I'm just going to go back to where it was. It's got to be close, and we'll check the gear oil too, just to make sure that that's where it should be. It should be pretty close. So the next video should be out at the woods. All right, so we're at the woods here, and we're gonna see if we can get this slip clutch to slip here. So I got everything hooked back up to the tractor here. I put some reference marks, so hopefully we can see if it spins or not, and I'll operate the PTO a couple times on and off just to see if it slips. Alright, so nothing slipped. So what I did was take another turn off. So we have 2 full turns loosened on the clutch disc, and I took my small hammer here and I went around and tapped on the top, and it looks now like there's space between there. So I know this thing was out in the rain a couple times, so I'm sure there's some rust in there. So let's see if we can get that to break free. Those marks should not be lined up like that. so there you can see it slipped. So we got it to break free, so that's good. That thing really holds together quite well. Alright, so in the book here it shows 4 millimeters and it shows that there's a gap. And if we look at mine here, I also have that gap now. Before there was no gap, so when I got it from the dealer, this plate here was tight against this inner hub piece here. I think they had it set up wrong. According to what I looked on the internet, I got an 1/8 of an inch gap here, which is not quite 4 millimeters. And according to the book here, it says that there should be 4 millimeters. So they had it set up too tight. So actually that slip clutch was not slipping at all. So that's kind of surprising that the dealer had that set up incorrectly. I thought the pictures were just for illustration purposes, but even in this one here you can see that there's a pretty good gap as well. And over here it says, to avoid driveline damage, do not over tighten bolts and lock nuts. A gap must be left between clutch plate and the bevel spring, or Bellevue spring, I guess. Huh, well that's interesting. I didn't even know. I just assumed it was ready to go. I know they told me the guy that loaded it said, oh, you got to make sure you check that each season. Huh, so that's interesting. Because even like this, I was mowing with it and it wasn't slipping at all. So, and now it just looks like there's space there. Huh, that's just absolutely amazing. All right, so I'm gonna pull the bolt back out. I'm gonna put that cover back on. I think if I just slide this whole thing back, I should have enough room to get the shield on, I hope. So yeah, there should be, it looks like there should be a snap ring on here. I'm not quite sure why that snap ring wasn't on there, but there's obviously a groove there, so that's also interesting. All right, so you can see I got the bolt in there, and I'm leaving the space that's in there. I'm going to verify with the dealer just to make sure, but like I said, 4 millimeters I believe is close to like 5/32, and I measured an 1/8 inch gap in between here. So for whatever reason, that shouldn't have been tight. There should have been a gap in there. I don't know why they did that. Maybe they just had some young kid putting them together and that's how it went. So, and I wasn't sure. I've never dealt with a slip clutch before, so I didn't really know. And like looking at the book, I'm like, well, 4 millimeters doesn't seem like a lot. So I guess it's always good to verify and just double check. So, all right, that'll be it for now.